What's up, folks? Are you ready to walk through a Gematria decoding session with me? Because you know it's all about the threes and the 33s in the news and the media, right? At any rate, this story is about Jeffrey Epstein's plane, which is sitting in Brunswick, Georgia. Okay, let's go ahead and show you. Brunswick equates to 39 in reduction gematria, which is your 3-3 symbolism, 3 and 3-3 symbolism, because 3 goes into 9 3 times. So there you have 3-3. But I want you to pay attention to the number on the right because it comes up quite a bit here lately in the stories of El Mencho and the Mar-a-Lago incident that happened here about a week or so ago. So the number 123. All right, I want you to pay attention here. Now, let's get to the story.
Right now at 5:30, the Jeffrey Epstein sex trafficking investigation. It has been one of the...
All right, so Jeffrey Epstein sex trafficking investigation. Let's get into it. So sex equals 33 in reverse reduction gematria. It also equates to 15, which is the opposite of 51, which represents conspiracy. And we'll get to that in a moment. And the number 12 and 48 appear here as well. We know the numbers 12, 24, and 48 are symbolic to the Freemasons and the Illuminati. Keep that in mind. Now we go to trafficking. Equates to 104, 59, 193, but most importantly, 67, 67, right? There's the number, 67. Let's keep going with it. And now they're on the plane. All right, it's his plane, Jeffrey Epstein's plane. And once again, we see the numbers 24 and 48 in the story here. Once again, these numbers are important. They all refer to the Gregorian calendar, you know, which we go by, you know, it's just the 365-day calendar that we have. It's a reference to time.
Trafficking investigation. It has been one of the most talked about issues in the country over the last year. And there's a surprising connection right here at a local airport. This Boeing 727, previously owned by Epstein, sitting, decaying in a scrapyard in Brunswick. Today, News4Jax was granted permission to tour the plane. According to the Epstein files, the release by the...
Of course, now he's talking about the Epstein files. So let's break it down with the Epstein files here, right? So, files in gematria equates to 51, which represents conspiracy. You don't believe gematria is accurate? Well, watch the screen. Once again, we see the numbers 1, 2, 3, which is what, you know, I told you to pay attention, right? It's all a conspiracy, an Illuminati conspiracy, and I'm going to show you this. So 51 equates to conspiracy, right? Just like, and then you see the number 57, which is important because it's backwards of 75, which is a number which the Freemasons and the Illuminati use quite a bit, which I've also found in the El Mencho and Mar-a-Lago episodes of what's happening, these events. As we can see here in this story line, which is Mexican cartel boss El Mencho killed in military raid, well, look at the symbolism in the time stamp. Timestamps are important on these YouTube videos, I'm telling you. 1, 2, 3. Right? Pay attention, people. The number 147 is important because they use theological methods in mathematics which break that number down to 47. You know, 1 times 47. And who's the 47th president? Trump, of course. Now keep watching the screen. And there you go. Once again, tinfoil hat, showing you that it is indeed a conspiracy at 51, right? Okay, then once again, you see the number 57 again. All right? So keep those things in mind when they talk about the Epstein files.
Sitting, decaying in a scrapyard in Brunswick. Today, News4Jax was granted permission.
So he talks about Bill Clinton here, right? So let's break it down. So Bill equates to 28 in reverse reduction, which symbolizes death, okay? And then you have reverse gematria showing 73, which symbolizes perfection, okay? Well, let's kick this up. All right, so you see 73 and 28 symbolizes death. This is perfection. Let's just see what perfect death. Oh, perfect death equals 111 in ordinal gematria. Well, let's take that a little step further, shall we? As you can see, perfect death in English gematria equates to 666. All right? Don't be fooled by what you're seeing in the Matrix, people, because it's definitely a conspiracy and it's definitely code, right? So let's keep going.
Traveled with Epstein on the plane.
And according to court documents,
Let's see what we got to say about Prince Andrew, right? Let's just have at it and see what it brings us. Prince brings us 38, which symbolizes death. The numbers 28, 38, and 58 always come up with things like mass shootings or mass casualty events. So let's go ahead and see what Andrew brings us. And you can see both of them. We go to Prince. We have 97 and 34, right? 65, 38. And then we go to Andrew. We have 65, 97, and 34. So we have three matches there. Let's put them both together. And you have 67, 67, right? I'm telling you, these numbers mean quite a bit to the Illuminati and Freemasons. So let's keep going.
according to court documents and testimony, many of Epstein's sexual assault victims also rode on that plane. News4Jax reporter Eric.
So sexual assault, right? We already explored sex. We know that equals 33. Well, let's see what assault is in Gematria. There you have it. Once again, we see 33 symbolism all across the board, and then we see 51, which is going back to conspiracy, right? I'm telling you, Gematria is highly accurate. So there you have it. And then again, we see the number 12. Like I said, 12, 24, and 48. You'll see that quite a bit. So let's keep going.
News4Jax reporter Eric Avanier takes us on a tour of the aircraft that's mentioned in the Epstein files.
This Boeing 7...
Let's just check out the word tour in Gematria, just out of curiosity, just because I'm curious. Okay, all of these numbers are significant. 25, 34, 20, and 74, especially 74. And when I say especially, I mean because, well, it's the reflection of 47, which is President Trump. But then we take you to things like the gospel. Okay, see, 74. Or Jesus. See, 74. And same, you know, in reverse reduction as well. They're all the same in reverse reduction, right? And then how about the cross? Right? 74. 34. Once again, the same. What about the Bible? Well, there you have your 33 there. But I know none of these have anything to do with the story at hand. However, I'm just showing you the power of Gematria.
This Boeing 727 aircraft, which is now sitting in a Southeast Georgia scrapyard, was at one time owned by Jeffrey Epstein. Owned by Jeffrey Epstein.
Language, okay? Because there's two different languages being spoken here. It's his voice and his hand. I want you to note how he holds his hand. These are all Masonic symbolisms here, okay? You'll see him talk with his hands and you'll hear him talk with his mouth. Two different languages being spoken. Symbolism.
Of course, we know this because of the FAA registry number on the tail that reads November 908 JE. JE stands.
Now, let's have a look at that tail number, all right? So we go back to Gematria. First, let's write it down. N908JE. All we want to do is input the letters of that tail number into Gematria, okay? And those letters are N, J, and E. So you see what they add up to here, right? And now you want to add up the number portion of the tail number, which is 908. 9 plus 0 is 9, plus 8 is 17. 17 plus 16 in reverse reduction is 33. 17 plus 11 in reduction is 28, which once again brings us to the symbolism of death. Okay? All right. So there you have the tail number bringing us to 33. Let's get back at it.
JE stands for Jeffrey Epstein.
All right. So JE. Here we go. JE representing reverse of conspiracy, which is 51. So you have your as above, so below symbolism here, right? 51, 15. Then we have 6, which is 3-3 symbolism. 3 plus 3 is 6. And then you have your more, your 33 symbolism again in reverse, which, 3 will go into 9 3 times. And then once again, you see the number 12. And then you have the, 6, 12, 24, 48, the doubling of numbers or whatever. It's all highly symbolic. Let's get back at it.
I was given permission to board the plane and see for myself what folks in Epstein's high-profile circle were allowed to experience when flying with Epstein.
According to the Epstein report, very powerful, well-known people traveled on this aircraft all over the world. The report also states that many of Epstein's victims were also buried.
So right at the 123 timestamp, you see it right here, you see what he's doing with his hands. Absolute Illuminati symbolism, right? Absolute Illuminati symbolism, right? Eyes closed. But anyhow, you see that. So, just out of curiosity, let's see what victims gets us in Gematria, right? Victims gets us as above, so below symbolism. You see the 9-4 and the 4-9? That's as above, so below symbolism. All right? Let's keep going with it.
Victims were also buried on this aircraft.
Though my brief acquaintance with Epstein ended years before his crimes came to light.
According to the Epstein file,
here we go. Mr. Clinton himself. You big 33. Let's keep going.
No, I
files,
never
former
witnessed
President Bill Clinton rode on this airplane more than once.
If this section of the airplane looks familiar, it should, because there is a photo in the Epstein report that shows former President Bill Clinton sitting in one of these chairs while an unidentified female sat in this chair. Also, this chair right here might also look familiar because there is a photo of Epstein sitting in this chair.
These are the two photos from the Epstein report that were taken inside the plane. Following a closed-door testimony to Congress about his relationship with Epstein, Clinton released this video statement.
And let's once again go back to Gematria here. We'll see what plane brings us. There you go, 24 and 48. Once again, time reference.
His relationship with Epstein, Clinton released this video statement.
I know what I saw, and more importantly, what I didn't see. And I know what I did, and more importantly, what I didn't do.
What's sad is he's reading this.
Nothing, and I did nothing wrong.
The cockpit is large, with seating for multiple crew members.
Anybody who's going to be, trying to prove their innocence would not have to read from a prompt. They would just be able to say it, if they're innocent or not. You're not going to have to read it from a screen, right? Let's keep going.
Multiple crew members. Behind the cockpit are two sections of the plane that feature an abundance of couches and tables for entertainment. There's also a food galley.
Here at the back of the plane, there is a queen-size bed and more seating over here as well.
There's also a bathroom with a shower.
Now, this is interesting, okay? So they're going to show us more right here in a second. But I want you to pay attention. This is how they put the symbolism in these videos, okay? I want you to watch.
Shower. These items laid out on the back.
You see that? There's your symbolism. Now, let's get out of here. Let's go back to Gematria. Well, wouldn't you know? Voss equals 33 and reverse reduction. And once again, we have our 12 and 24 references, okay? But most importantly, the 75 that I was telling you that has appeared in many other of my videos, specifically the things that are happening in Mar-a-Lago and with El Mencho, okay? Keep that in mind. Let's keep going.
On the bathroom sink have sat here for nearly a decade. According to records, shortly before Epstein was arrested on federal
Now, these records here, let's bring it back a little bit. And now, here's where we're getting to some good stuff. World Aviation Services. Let's see what that equals in Gematria. So here you have 101. It's an important number to the Illuminati. That's where they came up with the movie 101 Dalmatians, or like the phrase, like cracking ciphers 101, Yes. And then you have your 133 at the end, which, using their theological methods, mathematical methods, 1 times 33 is 33. Keep that in mind. Let's keep going with it, shall we? So, this company is out of Medley, Florida. Let's see what Medley brings us. Medley brings us 28. Once again, back to 28. You know what I'm saying? Mass death. And then 26. 28 also, keep in mind, was the day of the Iran war, start of the Iran war. And then 26 brings us the symbolism to the Gematria, which represents the 26 letters of the alphabet. Okay, let's go back here, see what other information. Aircraft bill of sale. Okay, let's input that bad boy, see what we got. Well, looky there. All right, using theologic, mathematical practice. 1 times 69 equals 69, which is a number very important to the Illuminati. And then you have 119, right? 119 is the reverse and reflection of 9/11. So there's your some as above, so below symbolism. Not to mention, using theologic mathematical practice, 1 times 19 is 19. 19 represents chaos. All right. Let's keep going with some of the stuff that we find on here. See what else we can nab. We're gonna just run with this. I think that was all I pulled up from this. I know there's gonna be some things that I missed, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, you get the point. The symbolisms, everything is here, right? I think it's interesting how they highlighted arrested and then died, as if they're trying to drill that into your head that that actually happened, right? But just out of curiosity, let's just see what we come up with. Gematria. Because, you know, they did highlight those words for a reason. Arrested gives us 90, which is a symbolism towards the Freemasons in regards of geometry, sacred geometry. And then you have your 36, which represents evil, okay, which is also your 3 and 3 symbolism. You know, 3 goes into 6 2 times. So, and then, let's see what died brings us. 22. So that's twin symbolism there. Keep in mind, you know, things like Twin Towers on 9/11, right? Yes, there is a lot of twin symbolisms. Just like George Floyd died in the Twin Cities, right? And had a tattoo of the Masonic double-headed giraffe or eagle on his head, or on his can't even talk today, on his chest. So yes, twin symbolism. Let's get back at it.
Before Epstein was arrested on federal sex crime charges and later died by suicide.
Suicide. Let's just see what suicide comes up with. See how they assert that, though, right? And there you go. Suicide brings us to another 119. Well, I just went through all the symbolisms for that, so there's no need to go through it again. And then we have 47. What president is Trump? 47th president.
Died by suicide. He sold the aircraft.
At some point, this aircraft will be totally ripped apart. Reporting in Southeast Georgia, Eric Avignon, Channel 4, the local station.
According to FlightAware data, Monday, July 11th, 2016 was the last time Jeffrey Epstein's former plane was flown from Palm Beach International Airport to Brunswick Golden Island.
Let's just check that out, just because I'm curious. Palm Beach International. Ah, there's another reference to 47 and Trump, right? So there you have it, guys. I mean, there's a lot of symbolism in everything, absolutely everything. And before we close this off, I just want to go through my notes here to make sure that there's nothing that I missed word-wise. Oh, Florida, Medley, Florida. I think I've already mentioned that, but Medley, Florida brings us to 38, which represents, you know, mass death or whatever. Florida itself, more twin symbolism. You know, 9 and 9, twin symbolism there. And then you have your 36, which represents evil. So, Gematria is quite the tool for decoding stuff. I'm telling you, there's a message in here meant for people in the know to cipher and understand. People are like us are just recognizing the patterns and pointing things out. So, you know, there you go. 3s and 33s. This is the longest video I've ever made on 3s and 33s. But you get my point now? Peace out, people.